Hello, Lindsay.
Hello, Shirley. Can you get your camera on okay there?
Is it not on? Right, let's see. There we go, Lindsay. No. I'm hitting it. It says you have stopped it, Lindsay.
Oh, right. Michelle's looking at it now for us. Do you want to try it now? Just try again. I think Michelle has made you co-host.
Yes, that's me now. Let me move my laptop back.
There we go. That's great, Shirley. And we'll start in just a second or two.
That's fine.
And our last session just ran on a couple of minutes, but we will begin to get you all the time you need. Can I just check before you do? Do you have a PowerPoint that you want to share?
You have, yes, I see it here.
Check that
yes.
is okay before we begin, just so there's no hassle for you.
Right, let me see. I'm trying to get it onto the main.
If you just maybe go to slideshow and then play, I think up the top. Yeah. And then from
that's me.
That's you. Right,
I'm just good to be here, Lindsay.
Yeah, no, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much. I'll just introduce you now. I can see most of our attendees are filing back in. So if I welcome you, Shirley, to our Parenting and Mental Health Conference, to the afternoon session. We're absolutely delighted to have you here representing Parenting NI. Fantastic work that you do, and we're looking forward to hearing a lot more about it in your presentation. And thank you so much for joining us. I am going to hand over to you so that you have as much time as possible.
Okay.
I will put my camera off, so you won't see me until when I put my camera on a bit near the end. So it'll be for you, and I'll keep a wee eye in case there are any questions that we need to cover at the end. But thank you again.
That's super.
Yes, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Hello, everybody. My name is Shirley Miller, and I work for Parenting NI. I am the Family Support Services Manager there, and I would like today maybe to talk a little bit. I'm really inspired by everything I've already heard today. I'd like to talk maybe about some of the practical things that we are offering parents here at Parenting NI. So as you can see from my first slide here, my section is called Parents' Mental Health Matters. And it really does. How parents are and how their well-being is has a big impact on how they actually will raise their children. And of course, that will transcribe into the actual outcomes for children further down the line. So for anybody who doesn't know us, and I hope everybody is aware of who we are, but we're one of the lead voluntary organisations here in Parenting in Northern Ireland that focuses on parents. So our work is predominantly with parents. We were established in 1979, so we must be doing something right because we're still here. And it's a great organisation, I have to say, not only for parents, but also to work for. We offer services right throughout Northern Ireland, and our head office is based here in Belfast. So every year, Parenting NI do a big parenting survey, and in last year's survey, you will see that mental health was identified as the joint top concern for parents, and that may well have been around parents' own mental health. Also, it could include their children and young people. And 82% of parents felt that they didn't get enough support. And I think, you know, listening to everybody this morning, it's very evident that we are all in the role of trying to make sure that parents have that support, and almost as importantly, that they know how they can actually access it. So a few times this morning, people have referred to Parenting Week, and Parenting NI, you know, are there and taking the lead on this, and we are certainly celebrating parents. As we all know, and we've heard from personal experience and from some of the services this morning, that being a parent's a big challenge, along with all those really nice rewarding moments that we gain as parents. We also have some hassles and some challenges, but Parenting Week is very much about celebrating the role of parents and the fantastic job that they do with their children and young people. It's running next week for anybody who isn't aware of that, so please keep an eye out for lots of activities that are going on, and it'll be your opportunity to contribute to that and to see just how special parents can be, and maybe in your own organization you've actually planned to do something with your parents to actually celebrate their really important role. As you'll see, the theme for this weekend, like it's previously been mentioned, is about resetting and reconnecting. And my goodness, was that ever more important than it is now as we work our way through the end of the pandemic. So it's very much about looking at where we are. It's about taking a breath and saying, right, how are we going to do this? How are we going to reconnect, not only with our children, but also with those other supports that are out there for us in society. So again, as I say, keep an eye out, look for us on Facebook and Twitter. If you're having an event with your parents, please post it up there so that we can all see the fantastic job that you as an organization are doing, and also your parents. So what is it that we actually do? Well, we support and we work with parents. And when we talk about parents, we're talking about anybody who would be in the parental role. So that might be mom, dad. We've heard from our last speaker, Maria, about the importance of grandparents and how sometimes they are taking on that parental role. It may well be kinship care, it may be foster carers or adoptee parents. But the service is there for anybody who finds themselves in that parental role. And the aim of our service, in Parenting NI, is to support parents so that the best outcomes can be achieved for their children and their young people. And we do that in a variety of ways. I'm going to talk about some of those as we go through our session today. We also have skilled practitioners in order that they can offer parents the best support possible. And that's particularly important, I think, when we look at parents who are experiencing a level of mental ill health. Parents who are feeling very demoralized, who maybe don't have connections in the community and can feel particularly isolated. And we talked a little bit earlier in one of our talks there about the stigma that still can surround mental ill health. And certainly the things parents tell us is that sometimes they are reluctant to actually say how they're feeling and how their mental health is. And that is for a number of reasons that we'll all be very aware of. But particularly things like feeling that judged, that people will think they're an incapable parent, when actually the truth is very much different. And a lot of parents actually with mental health actually parent very effectively. So it's important that practitioners have an understanding of what life is like for those families. Equally important is that practitioners will have adequate knowledge and that they will be giving those parents the most beneficial approach and knowledge that they can. So we do offer a range of practitioners training that actually will support that. And just while we're talking about practitioners, I think it's important to actually acknowledge that those skills and those values like empathy and being non-judgmental are so important to the line of work that we're all in, particularly for parents whenever they do have a level of mental ill health. The other thing that we do in Parenting NI is we aim to influence policy and practice on parenting, and we'll do that in a range of ways. So if you need to know more about that, please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to talk some more about it. So let's look at what it is that we in Parenting NI do. And you can see we have a whole range of different services and things that we can offer to practitioners and to parents. So probably one of our most important things is our Parenting NI website, where parents can go on and parents can find some information, some strategies. They can find some things there that are going to help them in their parenting. It's a lovely website. So please, if you haven't been on and had a look at our website, please do go on. It's very parent friendly and very easy for parents to maneuver. We have our Parenting NI app, and we also offer a free phone line and web chat. And that has been particularly important, our web chat, certainly through the pandemic. We also can offer sessions with parents through email, and some of our parents actually prefer to actually text. There's a range of podcasts, and they will be on lots of different topics that affect parenting and affect parents in general. They're very interactive. Some of them are quite witty, especially the ones that I've taken part in. But please, have a little listen. They're great and parents really, really enjoy them. And those go up on a regular basis. So workshops and programs, and this is my baby. This is where my heart lies, and this is very much something that we offer to parents on a range of topics. So it may well be around their own emotional health, maybe around their children's emotional health, or it may well be a program that's specifically being developed to help those parents who are trying to manage a mental health illness. I'm going to talk about those a little bit more, so I'll not go into them in too much detail. I suppose one of the things that struck me this morning was somebody had mentioned the fact that, being a parent of a teenager can be very challenging. And it doesn't mean because your child has reached 15, 16, 36 in my age that you stop being a parent. So, there are lots of programs on there to suit parents no matter what stage of development that their child may well be at. They're delivered in groups, or they can be in by Zoom. And at the moment, most of our services, particularly our programs and our workshops, will be delivered online. I think it's been absolutely amazing how well parents have adapted to accessing those online, and the input from parents and the commitment that they have to them really has been outstanding. And it's really, I suppose, a reminder of how important it is that parents have something that they can share, that they can come on and that they can go off at the end feeling better about themselves. And equally as importantly, having something that they think is going to help them and support them in their parenting until the next session. So again, you'll find on our website, there's lots of online resources, and we also offer accredited training to practitioners. And the last one that we have up here is our employee wellbeing. And employee wellbeing is a really important aspect of our role as an organisation. I think it's admirable that employers are now realizing that their parents, even though they may be turning up for work, even though they may be working to the best of their ability, sometimes there's things going on in the background. So more and more employers are actually putting these in place to support their parents. It doesn't mean just because you're at work that you're feeling particularly okay. So really important. And again, if you want any more information on those, please give us a shout at Parenting NI. So I suppose one of the things that I particularly want to talk about today is our family home visiting support service, because it's a really important part of engaging with parents. No matter how good a program or a workshop may well be, not all parents are in the right place to actually access those. So having somebody who can come into your home or can make contact with you on a regular basis through Zoom or through telephone support is really important. And we find this more and more, particularly during the pandemic. So Parenting NI have contracts for home visit support in the Southern and in the Belfast Trust areas. And that is open to any parents who feel that that would be of benefit to them, who fall into that, tier 2 level, and referrals come through the Family Support Hub. So the Family Support Hub will make an initial referral for home visit support. And if we or a number of other organisations are able to take that referral, we will start our work with parents. Very brave thing for a parent to actually let their guard down and let you into their family home, or at the minute meet you in the garden, or just have that regular access and that engagement with you on such a regular basis. But it works particularly well for those parents who maybe do have a mental health issue, who maybe do have very high levels of anxiety that stop them from engaging with others in a group setting. And it may well be that for those parents that this is the first time that they actually have talked about their mental health. And we'll see when I talk to about my parent stories, just how relevant that will be. I suppose it would be amiss of me not to mention the absolutely fantastic job that Family Support hubs here in Northern Ireland do, and they are often the first point of contact for a lot of those parents who maybe are struggling a bit with, depression, anxiety, but who very often present with something completely different. So the referral may well be around a child's behaviour, and it may well be then that just through the relationship that is developed with the family support worker, that the parent lets their guard down or starts to talk about how they're actually feeling emotionally. So a great service, and I'm going to share in a minute one of our great stories from that service. Our top tip sessions, these are sessions which we have developed, particularly in the Southern Trust area, and they are sessions which are quite informal and just help parents. So a lot of those parents who actually are availing of our family home visiting support will actually access those top tip sessions. They're an opportunity for them to engage with other parents in a very non-threatening way, and we will choose topics that are very relevant to what parents are talking about or what they are requiring support with in their home visit support visits. So very much it is about making that connection for parents, and giving them the opportunity to know that they're not on their own whenever they are trying to go through and work their way through as a parent. And they will, through those, gain support, and equally importantly, they'll gain strategies that will help them to parent effectively. We know that when parents have mental ill health, that it can be very hard for them to always parent the way that they would want to be parenting. And we very much would be promoting to parents the importance of them being authoritative parents. And that can be difficult whenever you really don't feel that today is a very good day. So I'm going to share a parent story with you that I think gives a trueness and a on the ground feeling of what it's like to actually engage with a home visit support. So this family that I'm going to talk about is a family who had an 8-year-old boy, and they also had a baby of 8 months. Initially, they came through a referral from the boys' school that was put into the family support hub, and it was to do with the young boy's behaviour. School reported that he had angry outbursts, and school were concerned this was happening in school and causing disruption to the classroom, and they were worried about why he was behaving as he was behaving. The family consisted of mum and dad, the 2 children, but next door lived the maternal grandparents. And it soon became clear that the young boy had been particularly engaged with his grandfather. So the grandfather had taken on a lot of those very practical day-to-day things that young boys need. So Granda was the one who took him to football. Granda was the one who maybe was there while dad was off working. And what had happened was that grandfather had received a diagnosis of dementia. And his condition deteriorated quite rapidly. And the end result was that grandfather was moved to a nursing home. So the family had requested some assistance in actually managing their son's behaviour. So when our worker went in there, very much it was about building that relationship. And relationships, as we all know, are vital to working with parents. So very much it was about going in, taking the non-judgmental approach, listening, helping that mum to actually contain her feelings and what was going on with her son. As that relationship developed, and actually in quite a short time, mum actually disclosed that she felt that she was really in a bad place with regards to her mental health. And she was encouraged to meet with her GP, which she did do. So, as I say, the son, his behaviour was very much about not being able to control his temper. He also had some underlying health issues, including epilepsy. And the young boy was really struggling to keep up with the work of the rest of the class. And he was going through the process of being statemented. During the time that the worker was supporting this family, the grandfather actually died. So the family were actually grieving, although the mum had disclosed that she felt like she'd been bereaved of her father a long time ago, whenever his dementia had started to take over. And you know, she was trying to deal with those feelings of loss and bereavement, and that was having an impact as well on how she was actually parenting her 8-month-old, because some days she just felt that, you know, today wasn't a particularly good day, and she did all the things that her child needed her to do, but she certainly wasn't getting any joy out of being a parent. Mum was experiencing very low moods, and she said that, you know, her son's difficulties, she had been told by someone in the school that they were a result of poor parenting. So I think we need to be very mindful of the language that we use with parents, and also about kindness. You know, I think as parents, we would all take real exception to anybody telling us that we were parenting poorly. I'm also thinking about what we talked about for most of the day, which is creating that tribe. And I'm thinking about how this parents' tribe all of a sudden was just ripped asunder. For both her and for her children. So what actually happened, and how did the worker actually help this mum to make a difference? So emotional support was offered to mum, particularly around doing some work around her son's stage of development, rather than focusing on her son's age. Emotional support was offered for mum, and mum was given lots of information on handling bereavement and on where she could go whenever the time was right for her to actually talk to someone and gain additional support around that. Mum was also given lots of tips on actually connecting with her 8-month-old, and she was encouraged when the worker was there to get down on the floor with the baby to make those connections, because some of that had been lost because of the circumstances that were going on in the family. When it came to homeschooling, Mum was looking for lots of practical support, which we and other organisations were able to put in place for Mum. And also through the strength of the relationship that had been built between the worker and the mum started to actually open up a little bit and started to discuss about some of the decisions that she felt might be more appropriate for her son's future, including moving him to a support unit. So what were the outcomes? So through conversation and reflection, it became apparent that a lot of the child's emotional needs came from what he was experiencing in school. He was unable to meet the educational standards of his peers, and sometimes mum felt that the teacher wasn't able to understand her child's needs, and that led to the young boy being frustrated, and there were difficulties with communication. When school stopped during the pandemic, Mum said that it was almost like the young boy's problems disappeared overnight. Through conversation and reassurance, Mum was encouraged to think about things from her son's perspective and to tune into his emotional needs. With help and containment, Mum was able to become more attuned to her son's emotional needs. Mum had said that she felt that she wasn't a good mother because of the issues that were presenting with her child, particularly with her 8-year-old, but also because of things that had been said to her. And she said that at times she just felt so low that she just didn't know how she was going to actually go on. One of the very first things that the home support officer actually noticed was actually how connected Mum was with her son, and how loving she was to both her children. And the worker was able to actually point that out and to emphasize that to the parent. And that was something that Mum said later in conversation that nobody had ever said to her before. You're actually doing a pretty good job. With persistent praise and encouragement, the mum began to take on board the parent support officer's comments. And she said that she felt like she had a bit of self-belief in herself and in her parenting, and she felt like her confidence was returning. top tips were given to the mum about how she could connect and how she could parent effectively, and lots of strategies were put in place, and having that ongoing support of an education support parent who was able to come in and help with that was something that mum really valued. So what was the actual outcome? Well, there was a significant improvement in the son's behaviour, and also mum actually approached the teacher, and at this stage the son then mum decided that really the school that he was in wasn't the most appropriate for her son. So through working collaboratively, mum began to focus you know, on their son's stage of development, and she tries as much as she can now to, you know, with great results, to actually encourage those behaviours that she likes. And she also helped in the process, and her son has now attending a special learning unit. So you want me to finish, Lindsay? All right, I'm finishing off now. So afterwards, mum actually commented that she would have been lost without the support of the parent support officer. And her comments actually were, when I first commenced service, I was a complete mess. I was soul destroyed and felt that my family might be better off without me. But you believed in me, and that helped me to believe in myself again. I can't thank you enough. So thank you very much. Just very briefly before, because it has come up today. So if I could just mention that we do have a DADS project in Parenting NI. So it is specifically for dads and focuses on dads who are separated, where mental health can be a big issue because of separation and the loss of the tribe that is there whenever you're parenting together. So please feel free, if you have any dads, or if you just like some more information, to get in touch and talk to them. So I've talked a little bit about that. Just to remind you, the parenting survey for 2021 is now live. Please go on, complete it, encourage any parents you're working with, because we need to hear from parents what it is that they need out there. So I'll just finish with a wee quote. And the little quote for today is very much, what mental health needs is more sunlight, more candor, and more unashamed conversation. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Shirley. That was absolutely fantastic and really wonderful to hear more of the work of Parenting NI, and particularly loved the stories from parents. I think that really helps to just get a window into their world and to hear not only about the work that you do, but actually just the significant difference that it can make. And I think all of us probably at different stages of life can relate to what you shared through that. So thank you very, very much.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Big parenting survey. We'll make sure that the parent